Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome. This week, we are entertaining and integrating the wisdom from the Wisdom Keeper. And to talk about these gifts, we have myself, Susanne Joie, with Deborah, LeeAnn, and Patricia Wald-Hopkins. And the wonderful essence of the Wisdom Keeper that we're going to be discussing as a whole and the role they kind of play is preservation and the evolution or the how we go about this is detachment, not having expectations, but being able to celebrate that and detachment. And of course, in radiance, the radiance of the wisdom keeper is the beauty of enrichment and discipline in the divine. And it's all anchored in the purpose of realism and justice and balance. So we're going to dance in this today. We don't know exactly where it's going to go, but we will listen to what the wisdom keeper has to say for us or to us. So please share.
One of the things that I'd like to learn is to, while we're together, because this is when things get magical and cooked up, is the embodying of this archetype. I am looking for, I love the words preservation and detachment and enrichment and realism. And how do they play in this intense energy of this week as Pluto is finishing its round in Capricorn and the other piece around the full moon? So we're experiencing some high intense energies and somebody's birthday. And 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 so I'm opening the floor for you all to help um, our listeners in how do we embody this wisdom of the ancestral um, guidance that's always with us? Listening.
I mean, still.
Yeah, it's that slowing down into presence where we can receive. Got it.
So one of the images or symbols is the tree, like the giant tree with the deep, deep roots. And so that's one of the ways of tuning in for me to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The curiosity that you mentioned before we started, curiosity of what that stillness summons forth from within your cells, that ancient wisdom.
Love that.
But having no attachment, right? You're not seeking. You're just rooting into it and feeling it, experiencing it. And the original, I'll just share this since we have that. The original image that came to me in 2017 when we did the dance with the Wisdom Keeper originally. We didn't even know it's called the Wisdom Keeper at that time. It was women. The image that came to me to create was women dancing by the river. Yeah. Yes, it was women gathering in the forest, in nature, tuning in, and ending up in this ecstatic dance. And that's really that divine and intoxication, the radiance of just the stillness ripening into this ecstatic bloom, this dance. And from that dance, from that wisdom, emerges something through that creative field. Like, we gathered together to stir the cauldron to create something. 60 is like the architect, right?
Yeah. And notice how she has taken her good old time. I mean, according to us time and space 3D people that are like, let's do something here and speak to us. And that's not how she works. So, Susanne.
I find that I love thinking about the Wisdom Keeper because it is a Venus love, and that's what the School of Light Collective is all about. It's the knowing and flowing with the seasons. It's the ebbs, it's the flows, it's finding others that are resonant with that message of our ancestral beingness, but also being able to recognize what we are wanting to create, to revere what has been and what's useful, and then also to create off of that. And as Trish said, you know, the detachment is that exploration. We don't know what's ready to be birthed yet, and so we can stay in that curious space and accept when we can truly accept what is in this now moment. That's where we can gain depth and simplicity and have that great love and trust of life to not fight the current. I like the fact that it was a gathering of women around the water, but not fight the current, but go with the current. And so having that detachment and celebration vibe of being alive and really knowing how to play the game, right? This game of life. And again, not being attached to any particular outcome. So.
Yeah. And as we're starting to see the collapsing of time, I was just talking about time and space, but we are living the past and the present and the future all together. And so as we do that, it can be our brain is getting rewired because it doesn't fit our normal our logical brain isn't quite ready to let go of having a time that is linear. And so the fact that this is women dancing, and I can see it being circular and spiral. Yeah. And it's not this, it's all of it, you know? And that's how women are. We are by nature inclusive, by nature, you know, inviting a broader perspective. And I feel like very often our scientific culture wants us to stay in these small little boxes. So I just keep finding myself opening, can I stretch not just my eyes and my vision, but my body to receive, to my heart to stay open when it just sometimes wants to close up.
Opening the box.
Absolutely. Pandora's box.
Pandora could be. I think the one thing that also wants to be said around the dancing by the river, because there was actually one image that came through quite strongly, and it was the woman, her head was dipped back and the water was like pouring over her. And so it's like almost being reborn each time you go down by the river. So the words that came through, and sorry, I'm stuttering because it's just like so powerful that I can't quite capture it in the words, but it was, we gather together to remember. And so every time we gather together, we remember that primordial creative force that lives within us that shifts the reality, right? Like it's there's not quite words for it. We'd have to dance.
That works for me. The one thing that just keeps coming forward, though, is you keep talking about together. And I still have that memory of being on retreat. Tricia, you were there, where we talked about to be together, we need to go in to get her.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's this connected inner presence that allows us to do that, joining the field, if you will, so that we are truly connected. I mean, we're always connected, but we're just not aware and we're not tuned into it.
Yeah, intentional. Like I've heard it described, and it really resonated, and maybe it will for some people, is like we're each a crystal or each a channel of light, right? Just pillars of light. And so we're tuning in to our own pillar, and then we connect to the center pillar together.
Yeah.
Right? It's like that sequence. And then from that center pillar, we're like radiating out an incredible synergistic, force of creativity and healing and love and whatever we put in the cauldron that we wanted to that time around.
And that feels so nourishing to my whole system. I needed this. Thank you for joining me today. I can take a breath.
I think the river is frozen right now here, but I'd still go.
Look at me.
Yeah.
When I feel the anchoring of this being, it's very, when it comes to justice and realism, it's that divine balance. It's that levity. It is innocence. And it has that structure. I mean, justice is a structure. And from what we understand, it's a structure of language too.
And one thing about that anchor point for this being is in that 60, and it's the 60, as you know, is programmed by 3, which is innocence, right? As you were speaking to. And so it's actually a portal. 60 is a portal for miracles, right? It's coming, right? 60, and it's Capricorn. It actually falls in Capricorn, but it's through play that we are creating the new earth. Like if you want to bring it to this current point in time, like this is that centrifugal force. I don't know where I'm pulling that out of, but going back into my science days, we're actually creating this vortex for new earth consciousness.
Yeah. And and it feels like you were speaking to the language piece, Susanne. And what I love about that is I've been unlearning the language piece, this kind of language piece, and learning to communicate through sunlight, through starlight, through moonlight, that there's so much of an exchange that is just waiting for us to open to. And I need to just tell my egoic brain, it's okay. I'm still going to need you to get, navigate this 3D life, but I have really been expanding into that. And I feel like that is my ancestral wisdom coming forward.
And I remember that about you from way back. Like I remember this, there was like a galactic face that you had, and I remember that essence of you from a long time ago that is still ever present. And
And
so yeah, that
thank
feels
you.
true. Yeah, that feels very true. And so there's something around this too, is that we're unraveling all those old structures, even the ones that we've held fast to, even in metaphysical land, where the chakras and how they're said they have to be a certain way and like right there. And then I'm not going to go too into that, but because we're still very attached to all of that, but I've been slowly having to release back to the original like Lemurian imprint of just crystal and flow. It's
Yeah.
not heated by each of the chakras, like I'm moving beyond the chakra system. And so there's something about that is of the new earth. It's
It's
a different
whole.
way of being with
Yeah.
whole. Yeah, it's holistic. It's not broken into parts anymore.
Yeah. And I
And
think, go ahead. I want to speak to the integration of that. So, yeah.
no, please do.
Well, integral is where I've been playing with this integral. And yes, integral leadership is what I do, but integral life, integral loving and leading and living is just, it just feels more uh, expansive. And um, I, I'm a structure girl. So for me to like dismantle all that stuff and like open to all of this unknown is I'm reframing it from fearful to it's exciting. You know, I'm anticipating where else we can go. Oh, what did you call it earlier? Curiosity. Thank you, Susanne.
And when I pulled a card today, and of course I pulled it from the Infinite Self deck by Patricia Wald-Hopkins. And what's beautiful is this wisdom keeper is tied in with preservation and realism, because we're talking about the ring of life and death and the ring of Gaia. And the card that I drew was the 48, and it's all about earth magic. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's all about reclaiming and listening to the deep whispers of the earth, beckoning you to reclaim the magic that you may have forgotten. Earth is your magic and it is your gift. Remember, it's your birthright to be fully connected to the powers and the rhythms of the crystals, the rocks, the plants, and the animals. And so then that's that ebbing and flowing that we get to be in. And remembering that is our birthright. That's what our connection is, as well as to the divine. So earth magic, reclamation.
It's karmic. It's like a deep karmic healing right now that our collective is going through.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, so we can just sit here and be crystals.
Works for me. Um, and and before we go, I just want to before we end is like what if everybody could speak to one thing that would support you in embodying this archetype, this wisdom keeper, this ancestral reverence to help bring us into that new consciousness. What is your way of anchoring it within you?
For me, it's that evolution part. It's the exploration without anticipation or without attachment to any particular outcome. As we stay in this higher frequency of delight and like our holding our gifts and following our inner knowingness, our divine design, that is where we will light up and expand into a new being, new way of being. So without attachment, celebrate and just keep living from that internal feminine beingness to know what to do, when to do it, following the ebbs and flows.
Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Well, mine always has to come back to acting like a child. I mean, really, if I'm not feeling curious, I'm not in alignment. And I believe for me, the new earth consciousness is all about delight and joy and the play and what you're doing in each moment. And so that's like, for me, the embodiment is doing something that brings that childlike joy to me.
Man, that's why I like to hang with you guys, because you remind me of that. So one of the things that I have learned recently is, you know me, I have to be the shadow because that's my job, to remind us that there's a wholeness. Is I used to look at the shadow, the reactive tendencies, the things that I didn't like about myself as I need to change those. And how I'm reframing that is when one of those crunchy things comes out of my mouth or I can feel the constriction in my body, is I'm saying, how can I love that more? How can I grow her up, mature her into the gift that she is? And it is such a beautiful way of reminding me that I have those roots for a reason. They have supported me in so many ways. And can I just appreciate them? And I want to offer that as to anyone else who sometimes feels like things are really dark. And where's my gifts and light? I don't understand. They're there. So I love you all, and I love the people listening, and I just want to put a big thank you out. We have grown our subscribers even more this month, and thank you for listening. Thank you so much for being here.